Inside Marquette Basketball with Buzz Williams is brought to you in part by AirTran Airways. For low fares to over 50 cities, book at airtran.com. Don't give up the sport, give up the pain. Talk to the Aurora Sports Medicine Institute. And by U.S. Bank, a proud sponsor of Marquette Athletics. All of us serving you.
Welcome to Inside Marquette Basketball with Buzz Williams. I'm Dennis Krause. The Golden Eagles coming off a 69-64 loss to Wisconsin Saturday at the Bradley Center. And Coach, in this game, I know after the game you were very distressed with the offensive rebounds by the Badgers.
Well, several things. I thought in the first half we played fine. I didn't think we played great. I thought we just played okay. The second half, I thought our energy level was extremely poor. We didn't score our first basket until our 12th possession on offense. But then when you look at their continuing possessions, it was put back, it was put back, it was put back. You can't allow any team, particularly a team as big as Wisconsin, to have 12 offensive rebounds. And then those offensive rebounds were all going back in the basket. They were scoring them. Now, they didn't necessarily score them right away. Some of those offensive rebounds there at the 6 or 7 minute mark, they would get an offensive rebound, run 20 more seconds of clock, get an offensive rebound. Those are just backbreakers. And we weren't very good offensively in the second half. I mean, percentage-wise, it looks like we were, but not from start to finish. At the very end, we were, but at the start, we weren't. And we gave up way too many rebounds.
21 second chance points. So as you break down the tape and you look at each individual offensive rebound they got, is it simply their length? Was it just hustle plays? What did you think?
Well, I think it's a combination of all those things. I think if you're going to score 21 points on putbacks, and in essence that equates to 33% of the points that you score for the game, it's going to be they jumped over you and got it. It's going to be you didn't block out the way that you're supposed to. It's going to be it was just a bad bounce. It's a culmination of all of those things. But cumulatively, as a team, we did not take up space to help negate their size, to help negate their hustle. Too many times we were ball watching and they were running in there and getting it. 31 was outstanding. He had 4 offensive rebounds all in the second half. They only had 3 offensive rebounds in the first half. 12 in the second half. That's the difference in the game.
Jimmy Butler led you with 15 points. Dwight Bikes had a strong game, 13 points for him.
We've got to get some consistency, not just with Bikes, not just with Jimmy. We've got to get some consistency from top to bottom. Injuries have affected that. Bikes has already missed 2 games for 2 different injuries. Devontae's missed games. We've got to get some consistency with all of our guys. And I think when we do that, we'll flow much better. Our best game statistically was against Corpus Christi, and Bikes didn't even play. And then we come back against Wisconsin at home, and arguably Bikes statistically was our best player. Well, we've got to figure out as time goes over the next 20, 25 games, who are we offensively, and can we count on those guys night in and night out?
You came back from 12 down, actually had a chance to tie down 3 in the final seconds. Walk us through that final possession and what happened.
Well, I always want to have a timeout late in a game, but I thought the way that game played itself out, when I used my last timeout, it was to continue to try to give us a chance to be in the game. So they're up 3. Coach Ryan calls a timeout. Levin still has 1 free throw left. I think that he was saying if we score, it's a 2-possession game, make them play in front of you. If we don't score, foul. And so I told our guys, we're going to do the same thing we just did on the previous possession, dribble handoff. The handoff took place maybe at the timeline. It needs to take place at the 3-point line. Otherwise, the ball screen's not effective. Was it fouled? Was he stripped? Was it a bobbled handoff? It's all those things. Bottom line, Bikes turned the ball over, game over. But we had 7.8 seconds, I believe, when we got possession of the ball. We had plenty of time, and we didn't execute.
Golden Eagles now 7-3. Let's go back briefly to last Tuesday night, the 86-50 win that you referenced over Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Vander blew 21 points and a terrific complete game for him.
I thought he was outstanding. I thought it was the best he had played start to finish. I thought he was really active, very good defensively. Offensively was in attack mode at the right time. I thought our team, we had 33 baskets, I believe 23 of them were assists, which was a high. We only had 8 turnovers, which was a high. But I think that we're starting to figure out how to get the best shots we can get within how we play. But we've got to continue to minimize the turnovers, and obviously Tuesday was the best we had done at that.
Unfortunately, in that game, Joe Fultz went down with a severe bone contusion on the left knee. I saw the pain on your face when you went out to look at him because you go way back with him. Realistically, will he play again this year?
I hope so. I think he's healing probably as the way that they thought that he would. It's hard to predetermine, like, how long is that deep bruise going to continue to impact you negatively. Like, some can function with the bruise, but because of the wear and tear on his knee, I think he's going to play. We need him to play. We miss his energy. We miss his toughness. We miss what he can do from a rebounding perspective. We miss what he can do catching and shooting open shots. I don't anticipate that he'll play prior to Christmas, no.
Let's look at our AirTran key stat of the week, and it's comparing the Golden Eagles after 10 games this year to last year. A lot of the numbers are up, including scoring. You're allowing more points. But I guess the one thing I'd like to ask you about is the three-point shooting, considerably down this season.
Yeah, if you look across from start to finish, we have 5 more turnovers this year through 10 games than we did last year. 130 turnovers versus 125. But the only statistic that we're down in is our three-point shooting. We're down in the number we've made, but we're down in the number we've made because of the percentage that we're making. We've scored many more twos than we have threes than last year. We've attempted more free throws, made more free throws this year. We're rebounding the ball better. We have more assists this year. That team was a great shooting team, and we're not a great shooting team. I think we can be okay, but I think we're only going to make shots when they're created by other people for those shots. I think last year, Mo would take a dribble up, I can make this three. Czar would get a ball reversal, make a three. This team's not going to score as many points. I mean, we were 4th in the country in three-point field goal percentage, and we were in the top 10 in three-point field goal makes. So that's not this year's team, but I like the complexion of this year's team. And statistically speaking, that's the only thing. We've made 43. Last year we had made 73. So we were making 3 more threes in essence per game than we are this year.
Former Racine Horlick star Jamil Wilson transferred from Oregon. He's sitting out this year. We'll hear from him up next. Stay with us. Back with the coach, Jamil Wilson was heavily recruited in high school, ended up going to Oregon, started some games in the Pac-10. His coach left, and now he's back home. This is a valuable year for him, isn't it, to kind of absorb your system?
I think it's going to end up being the most impactful year of his basketball career, because I think he's figuring out a lot of things without the pressure of having to perform them. And at the same time, he's really intelligent. So he's able to observe through a different lens when we play. When we're doing scout-specific things, he's seeing things in a completely different perspective than he's ever seen them before, and I think that will impact his growth more than anything else he's done in his career.
Jamil Wilson in the U.S. Bank Up Close with Homer segment.
Today's guest, Jamil Wilson. Welcome to Marquette.
Thank you.
People in the area know you from your high school days, but
Yeah.
You're new to Marquette. First of all, people should know you're not going to be playing this year. You're
Nope.
sitting out. But it's a short question, but how'd you get here?
I got here with the whole decision making over at Oregon, with us not having a coach after the season. It all happened in about 6 hours.
6 hours?
Yeah, I actually met with Buzz one afternoon, and I got my release earlier that morning. I had a meeting with Buzz that afternoon, and that night before I went to bed, I signed my letter of intent here.
Your life is one that basketball fans know, because you're an outstanding high school player, maybe going to go here, maybe going to go there. Now it ends up at Marquette. Is it long, drawn out, difficult, or do people exaggerate what it's like to go from an outstanding high school player, pick a school, all the attention, then I transfer? There's a lot of stuff going on in there.
It's different. It's difficult, I guess, being from like a top-ranked player to going to a school and not playing as much as you like or as you thought you would. And actually, it's a whole grown-up process. You got to grow up, you know, learn that other players are better than you, or some players work harder than you, or you're not quite experienced as other players, so you won't play as much. And then with the whole transferring thing and actually not sitting out, that process is really long. I mean, we're only we're only 7 games into the season, and I feel like it should be over tomorrow. But
you want to play?
Yeah, but it's a long process. But luckily, I have a lot of good guys around me that just keep me going every day.
What do you know now that you wish you'd have known when you were a sophomore in high school?
I always tell my dad this. I wish I would have actually listened to the football coaches and actually went into the weight room and lifted a couple weights or did a couple of things with the team, because just from working with Coach Todd here, just to watch your body transform and change, and you see the differences in your game and what you can do and the abilities to do this, and you're like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. But it improves your strength and overall like balance and stuff tremendously. And I always tell me and my best friend, we always talk about it. If we would have did this in high school, we would have did this and that, or we could have won this game or that game. But I think overall it's probably actually lift weights. It actually helps. I never thought it did. I always stuck to push-ups and sit-ups, but lifting weights will always help.
That's what people are going to remember from this. You've had a chance to play on 2 college teams.
Yeah.
I don't have to ask you about Oregon, but you can see Marquette in a different light.
Very.
What's it like having been another place and seen other things? Practice is the same.
Practicing is different. The way we prepared there is way different than the way we prepare here. Like our shoot-arounds, the game day shoot-arounds were actual like shoot-arounds. You would shoot around, you would walk through plays, walk through your opponent's plays. But here, it's actually practice. I mean, you get taped and you go at it. You do your normal drills and everything.
It's intense.
So yeah, it's intense. Just the work ethic is a lot different.
And now, perfect spot on the court. Now, we can't have you shoot because you got your street clothes on. Well, you can, I guess, offensively right here.
Yeah. Me being right-handed, the glass is on this side, so if I run against someone that's taller than me, a little bank shot won't hurt.
You had a smile with that bank shot.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, it's not
right
great.
Here, let's go. Right, so you take it into here.
Yeah, you can get around in here, and then if the guy's bigger than you.
Right there? You want to go bank?
Yep. But I mean.
That's like old school.
Yeah,
Guys don't bank anymore. Come on.
But, I mean, it's harder to make a straight-in shot from here unless, I mean, you're really athletic and you can just jump and dunk from here. But even though it's old school.
So you're going to bank it right there.
The fundamentals still come down to it. It's just a simple shot in the middle of the square. My dad always told me the backboard was your best friend.
And you listen to him.
Yeah. Hey, in the end, he's always right when it comes to basketball.
Jamil Wilson.
Yep.
Welcome to Marquette.
Thank you.
Coach, I think fans might be interested. How does that process work as far as how did you learn he was available? How was he able to transfer to Marquette?
Several things. When you transfer as a Division I athlete, you have to be eligible at the institution you're transferring from in order to transfer. That's the first thing. There's a lot of guys that say they want to transfer and academically they can't. Jamil was eligible to leave Oregon academically. We found out about it the day he got his release. His mom passed during his high school career. He has 2 sisters that he's very close to. Obviously, that family is extremely close. Dad was inducted into the Hall of Fame at UW-Whitewater 7 weeks ago this past weekend. Unbelievable human being. And I told Jamil when I was recruiting Jamil when he was in high school, I really like your dad. I really call or come see you to see your dad, not to see you. I remember the first day we were recruiting Jamil, the very first day we could have face-to-face interaction, I took myself and 2 assistants. You can only have 3 guys out in the fall. All 3 of us went and did a home visit at Jamil. So, but it was relatively a simple transfer. They called us when he got his release, and I said I'd like to talk to his dad and Jamil in my office, and we talked the next day, and that was it.
And here we are. When we come back, former Marquette star Dwyane Wade was in Milwaukee last week. We'll hear from him on Inside Marquette Basketball with Buzz Williams.
Give it up. Look at this. Right side. Oh! Send it in. Give him room to do some damage. Strength, agility. Gorgeous.
Coach, you did not have a chance to coach Dwyane Wade, but what does he still mean to the Marquette basketball program?
He's been unbelievable to me. Obviously, I've gotten to know him more and more as time has progressed. I think they played last Monday. A week ago today is when the Bucks played the Heat, and we played Saturday afternoon against Longwood. Saturday evening, D-Wade and I began to text. I met him at the Owl on Sunday. He brought 3 or 4 guys over to shoot, met one of the assistant coaches. They invited me to shoot around Monday morning. Went to that. Obviously, I went to the game. I've never asked D-Wade for anything. Don't want him to give us anything. But have really appreciated the fact that he's willing to have a relationship with me. His example to our kids, not the player that he is, but the person he is. In the time, a couple of guys were over at the Owl when he was shooting, and he's just been great. He's got a great demeanor about him, a great spirit about him. And the one thing that I would say, Dennis, he genuinely loves Marquette. That's not him just saying it. He really cares about it. And, of course, he walks in the Owl and he sees his picture on 1/4 of the entire wall. I'm sure that helps him feel a little better about what he accomplished here. But I always enjoy being around him, and I've never pressed him because I don't want him to think that he ever has to do anything for me. But he's been great.
In our Aurora Sports Medicine Institute All Access segment, Dwyane Wade says he always relishes coming back to the Bradley Center and Milwaukee.
And 8 years later, you know, from when I walked out of Milwaukee, out of Marquette, to come back, it's always special. You know, I got an opportunity going to Al McGuire Center last night, and it was just special going in there with some of my teammates, and you know, just seeing some of the things I was a part of building here, and seeing the tradition at Marquette, just makes it feel good. It makes you feel proud to be from this university, from this town.
Dwyane Wade didn't play for Hank Raymonds, but he knew him well and was in Milwaukee the day that Raymonds passed away.
You know, my heart and my family heart goes out to his family. But you know, he was a great man, and makes us very proud, make me very proud to hold my head up high and say, you know, I went to Marquette. I was a part of Marquette, just like Hank Raymond was. You know, he was a legend here at Marquette. Anytime he put me to the side, you know, you always listen to what he had to say, because you know he knows the game. When I came in and knew that he was a key guy, you know, and they knew it was a guy that was Marquette University, and you know, so it was just great to have that relationship with him. And every time I came back to play the Bucks, and anytime I got a chance to see him, you know, he was always great.
Wade was also in town the same week that Marquette was getting ready to face Wisconsin. Dwyane felt the intensity of the state rivalry in 2 meetings that he played in, going 1-1. What do you remember about the rivalry with Wisconsin?
Sold out arena. Really mixed crowd. You know, especially when we played at home, there's a lot of Wisconsin, there's a lot of red and white up in here. So really a state that's kind of broken in a way, but just one of those games that you just want to, you want to play great because you know there's going to be something that's going to be talked about all year long.
Coming back to the Bradley Center and seeing his number 3 hanging from the rafters is still an emotional experience for Wade.
Well, it's just, to me, it's just, I look at the players next to me. I look at the the Doc Rivers, the Boilers, the guys I grew up knowing about in the history of the game, the George Thompsons. And I just look up there and say, when I walked into Marquette in 2000, you know, I would have never imagined that my jersey would be up there next to them guys. So it's an honor, you know, more so than anything, especially being in the NBA arena, to have, you know, every time a team come in here, they got to look up there and they got to see that number 3. So I appreciate that, and you know, it's always special. I made LeBron look at it today. You know, just took a moment and said, just look up there.
Even though he's now playing for the high-profile, star-studded Miami Heat, Wade is still tuned in to the Marquette basketball program.
I'm a part of this program. You know, I'm going to be one of them old guys that's going to be coming back to the games when I'm done playing basketball, and hopefully they give me a nice seat on the floor somewhere where I can watch Marquette years from now. But, you know, I'm really a part of it. You know, I try to do things to support the program as much as possible, stay in tune with the coaches and the players as much as I can, and, you know, really wish them all the best.
I would assume, Coach, he's always welcome back around here. Now, when you go out on the recruiting trail, does the fact that when kids watch NBA games and they see Dwyane Wade's from Marquette, does that help your recognition?
Sure, I think that'll always be synonymous. That D. Wade was here. They went to the Final Four when he was here. What he's been able to do as an NBA player, yeah, I think that's always synonymous. We never want a guy to come here because D. Wade came here. There was no D. Wade prior to D. Wade coming here. But, you know, when you look up there at all of the other great players that came here, I would say they had an impact on D. Wade in the same way that D. Wade's having an impact on our guys and our future guys. I think it's just kind of part of the footsteps.
When we come back, where are the Golden Eagles from? Stay with us. Back with the coach. It's finals week for the team, and then Saturday afternoon, a centenary at the Bradley Center and on Sports 32. We thought it'd be interesting to graphically show our viewers where your players are from, including your 2 incoming recruits for next year, and it shows the national draw of Marquette University basketball.
It is pretty interesting when I saw the map for the first time to think about all of the stories that go into how those guys got to Marquette. It is national, and I think in order to compete and win in the Big East, you can't seclude yourself to only one certain area. Obviously, we want to do the best job in the state, and then we want to build from there. And I think that in the short time that we've been here, we've done a good job building relationships in the state, in Illinois, and then from there. And when you look at the staff and how they have been compiled relative to getting here, you know, those guys have been employed at just as many different institutions as I have, and so the relationships that they bring obviously gives us a head start on where we can go. But when you look at the map, it shows you the various and variety of relationships that our staff has throughout the country.
No surprise with your background in Texas and just the sheer number of players in Texas, that's been a hotbed for you.
Well, it's a combination of those two things, Dennis. Obviously, I'm from there. I'm from the smallest town on that map in that state, but have great relationships there. Tony Benford's done an incredible job throughout his career in the state of Texas, and I think when we first took the job and we knew we had to sign 7 players in our first recruiting class, obviously that's where you're going to go because that's a well that you know what the water is. We signed Jimmy Butler when I first took the job. I think we've expanded from there, but it's definitely a place because of the population of high major players that you can always go back to. I don't know that I've done a good enough job spending time there over the last 18 months because I have so many relationships there, but it's hard, Dennis, to get where you need to get and the priorities relative to the roster of what you need. So that'll always be important, but we've got to continue to find the absolute best fits.
Coach, thank you, and good luck on Saturday.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
That's Inside Marquette Basketball with Buzz Williams. We'll see you next week.
Inside Marquette Basketball with Buzz Williams was brought to you in part by the Aurora Sports Medicine Institute, the exclusive sports medicine provider to Marquette University Athletics. U.S. Bank, a proud sponsor of Marquette Athletics. All of us serving you. And by AirTran Airways. Go. There's nothing stopping you.